Well, the special counsel's office is under the U.S. Department of Justice, of which Attorney General runs. And it's just amazing. And so, really, what this is all about is that Attorney General Barr was very, very shrewd in releasing the really consolidated, basically boom, boom, like you said, it's binary, yes or no. Are they going to charge or not charge? Right. And so he released that and didn't provide all of the Harlequin, novel that, along with that Mueller's team wanted. See, they wanted to obviously get this thing. They knew that the whole volume 1 and 2 would not be released for quite some time, but they wanted to drive and control the narrative through their quote unquote summaries. Well, that didn't happen, and now they're just really raging about that.
Hey, Clay, are you there?
Yeah, looks like we're all back up and running there, folks. And for all the Patriots out there in live chat who have now joined back up to the channel, we've got it's the I70 and Coach Clay show here going on right now. And in our group now discussion, we have Clarion, Patriot out there, and we also have Drunken Pinata out here as well talking to us. And then the third Patriot that we've got here is WLCTV.ca coming with us as well.
Yeah, everybody missed what you were saying, Clarion.
Well, hey, thanks for having me on. You guys are awesome, and so I just wanted to. It is just, we're all upset about how this stuff is being played out in the media, but I think it's critically important to take some time to review this latest mess that the Democrats are trying to spin, this perjury. Not a trap, they've already supposedly sprung it, but they're trying to couch all this into perjury on Attorney General Barr. And I think it's just maybe would make some sense to kind of go back in time and really underscore what exactly happened here.
Yeah, I would go through exactly what you said to us off air, Clarion, because I think it's very relevant.
So the genesis of this is Senator Crist, and I said off air too, every time I say Senator Crist, I bristle. So Senator Crist questioned on April 19th to Attorney General Barr, whose oath was, quote, this is Senator Crist, reports have emerged recently that members of the special counsel's team are frustrated at some level with the limited information included in your March 24th letter, that it does not adequately or accurately, necessarily, portray the report's findings. Do you know what they're referencing with that? And then Attorney General Barr's response is, quote, no, I don't. I suspect that they probably wanted, more put out. But in my view, I was not interested in putting out summaries or trying to summarize, because I think any summary, regardless of who prepares it, not only runs the risk of, being under-inclusive or over-inclusive, but also, would trigger a lot of discussion and analysis that really should await everything coming out at once, period, full stop, end of quote. So now what we have is a letter that was privately sent on the U.S. Department of Justice's special counsel's letterhead, dated March 27th, 2019, addressed to the Honorable William P. Barr, Attorney General of the United States. So isn't this rich? So we have Robert Mueller drafting this letter, sending this letter under the U.S. Department of Justice letterhead. And let's just take a step back. The Department of Justice is run by Attorney General Barr. We all get that, but it's worth pointing out again, because just the incredulity of Robert Mueller, special counsel. So he's stipulating in his March 27, 2019 letter, again, a private letter to our Attorney General, William Barr, with the reference line, report of the special counsel on the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and obstruction of justice, March 2019. So basically, he's pointing out that, as we stated in our meeting of March 5th and reiterated to the department early in the afternoon of March 24th, the introductions and executive summaries of our 2-volume report accurately summarize this office's work and conclusions. The summary letter the department sent to Congress and released to the public late in the afternoon of March 24th did not fully capture, now listen to this, did not fully capture the context, nature, and substance of this office's work and conclusions. We communicated that concern to the department on the morning of March 25th. There is now public confusion about critical aspects of the results of our investigation. This threatens, now listen to this. This is Mueller's letter. This threatens to undermine a central purpose for which the department appointed the special counsel, to assure full public confidence in the outcome of the investigations. And then it's Supra, C Department of Justice press release, parenthetically, May 17, 2017. Now, isn't that rich? To assure full public confidence in the outcome of the investigations. Well, we don't have confidence in you, Mr. Mueller, in this investigation. And what they're all upset about is Attorney General Barr performed wonderfully in Congress. I don't know how many hours under oath he was up on the Hill most recently and then several weeks ago. But he went ahead and consolidated all this into a summation, as TN Homesteader likes to refer to it as, and it is legally a summation, as to what happened here. And it's binary. Basically, it's two-pronged. Are you going to charge or are you not going to charge? And that's what he basically stipulated in his March 24th letter. And they, being the special counsel's office, was not able to control the narrative on this. And now they're just out of their gourd, besides themselves, and trying to gin up, perjury.
They're panicking. They're panicking. That's all.
Yeah, well, it's something that we need to stay on, and we need to point out. And I sent I70, I think, a link over to you, and I don't know if you guys can put it up, but it's a very well-written article by Andrew McCarthy on National Review on NRO, William Buckley's magazine that's now exclusively online, and it's run now by Rich Lowry. And Andrew McCarthy is a former federal prosecutor, and he points out, boom, 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 in a really succinct way, just how ridiculous the special counsel's March 27th letter was, and what they're trying to do. And it's completely out of the bounds of mandate or the actual instructions of the special counsel. So I know we all get what's going on here, but it just is critically important to my mind that we do talk about this, because this is a part and parcel to what they're trying to do, is bring down this president. And it is so unprecedented as to what they're doing. And they are completely misusing the law in the judicial system. And it is absolutely lawfare what they're doing.
Well, here's the question there for you in terms of something that you're talking about there, Clarion, is as we know from, and I can't remember, I couldn't find it there as I was trying to listen as well on what Q drop it was. But when Q said that Mueller is basically doing whatever he can to save himself, as we know, that his involvement in all these nefarious things over the years, for one of them being Uranium One, and obviously he walked the line here of did he do enough or not enough while this Mueller report was being written up. What is your take on it? It looks now to me like he's cited that he's, maybe he didn't do enough, and that's why he's now spouting his mouth again.
Well, here's my take on it. There's always been a lot of questions around, well, is he... we know he's a black hat, but did he shift over to being a gray hat? Okay. So there was a meeting early on in President Trump's presidency where he met with Robert Mueller, for several hours. Right. And principally it was about discussions about becoming, the FBI director again, head of the FBI. But of course he couldn't do it per statute. Okay. We get that. But right. I really think that, and I go back to game theory, this is such a complex, what is being played out. And to a reasonable-minded person, and I believe that they showed him all the cards or let him know that we have all the cards, we know it all. Yet, I think he did not pivot the way that they expected him perhaps to pivot. And he really thought, and he's privy to all the deep state, actors and what they're doing through all their codes and whatnot. I really believe that he thought that they were perhaps going to remember. There's been multiple assassination attempts against our POTUS. And he really thought perhaps that the deep state, this is my conjecture, would continue to have the upper hand. And so basically, he is not going to pivot away from the deep state. And so, if you apply Occam's razor, which basically you take the most logical sense of this, well, Rod Rosenstein and Robert Mueller essentially had a blockade going on all the way through the midterm elections and up until now. And they have levered this thing to the hilt. And now it's shifting away from them. And now they're trying to spin all this other, tangential things. I mean, they're calling now for they aren't, but the wingnuts in Congress, the Democrats are now actually verbalizing, stating that calling for Attorney General Barr's resignation, and they want to impeach. And so this circus continues on. But to get back, the salient point in this, in my opinion, is Miller is a bad actor. Rosenstein is a bad actor. These guys are going down, and they are basically, it's a wicked time that we live in. And I just wanted to bring this up because we need to continue to talk about this stuff and, basically continue to point out just what in the hell's going on behind the scenes with all of this. It's unbelievable. It's unprecedented. It's completely in the margin of the twilight zone. What's going on behind the scenes?
I agree with you 100%. And I don't know how you get through Andrew C. McCarthy's writings. He writes like a lawyer, it's all lawyer speak.
Well, he does boil it down, boom, 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 boom. And his latest on was, I think you wrote it. I sent it over to I70 a couple hours ago. But this is so unbelievable.
Yeah, you faded there. Are you there?
Yeah. Keep going, Clary, and we got you.
Yeah, I don't know if you could put it up on the screen or not. The National Review article by Andrew McCarthy, but it's worth looking at. I don't have to go through the whole thing, but chat. I would highly recommend going through it. But this is, part and parcel what our president is going through, and it is really extraordinary. And prayers up for our president. And it is being game theoried out, and will continue to be game theoried out because we're playing with situations here that are the ultimate brinkmanship, political brinkmanship. And we know what they've tried to do in the past. I mean, we had a live ICBM shot off of Whidbey Island.
Clarion, wouldn't you say that it's a three-prong attack that they're doing right now?
Yeah, possibly. Explain.
Well, you've got obviously the deep state. You've got the Dems in the House jumping up and down with the help of the MSM, which is CIA, basically. That they're all over. So that's two prongs right there. When the CIA is leaning to the left, and then the other part of that, the number three, would be the MSN shut down the conservative voice that is the counter narrative. We're the counter narrative of everything. Remember, we are the news. The MSM is nothing anymore, right?
Right. We are the news. Yeah, to your point, I mean, it's manifest in terms of the prongs. I mean, there's so much out there that is basically going against the truth and the president and perpetuating the deep state lie. It is the mainstream media. I mean, you got people still seated within, probably the DOJ. You got people seated within the FBI. It is amazing. And, the media, of course. And so it's just so important that we basically take the reins of this thing, the fourth estate, which is supposed to be the media, and just move forward. I mean, we are in a point now where we need to be putting the pedal to the metal.
Oh yeah, POTUS needs our help all the way. This fight is far from over. It's just, this is the beginning, and we ain't seen nothing yet.
No, we haven't. And the latest Q post was interesting to my mind. I'd be interested in what your guys' reaction was. But I was on the road yesterday. I looked at it and I'm like, wow, that's not necessarily a scene from The Karate Kid. Isn't something I would necessarily myself lead with. Maybe a theme from Rocky, or another something from Gary Cooper from High Noon or something. But if you look at it, and if you look at what's stated in that, I think that there's some additional messaging inside that scene, because that scene is he went into a place where he thought he would be able to go and get help and assistance, but then it turns out that inside that, almost like the second in command, he finds out that there's the bad guy inside. So I think that there's some more messaging in there, and I was
well, I think that's, if you go from that point on, Clarion, what he does when he realizes that they were yelling out things like strength or this, but then when he realized that there was a bad guy there that he had seen, that there was no honor in that room, so he left there. And what it did is he then set forth to find a true master, who was Mr. Miyagi, turned out to be Mr. Miyagi, who then taught him a special move that no one else knew. So that's where I see the kind of relation to Q and POTUS.
Yeah, well, that too. I think there's some additional messaging in there too, and it has to do with Mr. Mueller as well. But also a couple weeks ago, with the aerial shot of the Long Beach in Seal Beach, it talked or referenced 1st and 10 at the 40. So, one would think we were already in an offensive, kind of gearing. And it's just a little bit, perhaps, to my mind, a little bit interesting, yesterday's Q post.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Any other thoughts from you guys, Drunk Pinata?
I shared with Pam at 412 on their show yesterday in real time. When that post came through, I had seen a couple of POTUS tweets just before and just after that post, and I checked the timestamps in true TN Homesteader form, and I really got some good stuff from that, where I think there was a true call and response where POTUS sent out something as a signal, and then Q basically put in a little mini stringer, which is you see that kickoff and that start offense. So it's not in the typical stringer fashion, but it's kind of is, in the sense that it has, if you take those single quotation marks and you just put those underscores in there, that would look a lot like a stringer. So with that, I had shared a graphic at that point during that show, which was kind of showing the sorry.
No problem.
Sorry.
Do you still have it?
Yeah. I'll DM it to Clay just a second.
Sure. Throw it over to me here, and I'll share it on the screen here.
Does anybody? I noticed that Pamphlet's name is in live on air, and so is Stream Machine, but I don't. Their mics are both off. Why is that?
I think they just had to be there like a bot.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. He's sent that over to me here. Bring that up. Share the screen here 1 sec. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
All right. There you go there, Drunk Pinata. Are you still with us there, Drunken Pinata?
Gotcha.
I got the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 4 and the 5 there, that happened to be the 4th and 5th tweet from POTUS, and that +12 is a separation between that Q post, and that +15 is the response. And so if you look down at the very bottom there, you see that I have values underneath, which are the simple gematria values that, if you look back to that, one of the very, very first posts was A, B, C, D, E, or, DJT and 4, 10, 20, so that basically, from that point on, most of the comms have been using that format as just a way of simplifying things. So that the values in the middle, those are the numerical values for the ones for kickoff, start, and offense, and below is the my possible solution for that would be DJT. That red is that 27 confirmed post. So, are we going to go on the offensive? That's what Q's asking, and then post confirmed by between the 5th and 6th tweets as 27 minutes.
Okay.
So Trump confirm, with 27 confirm that post. Tax cuts it's something that was used in one of the videos I'm hoping to bring to you guys within the next couple of weeks. One of the ones I'm working on for a while. It's a key phrase that they use a lot when they want to bring up comms.
Very interesting.
You code readers, it's so complicated.
Yeah, I think that's really some keen analysis, right? Because this is, a fluid operation, and it is ultimate brinkmanship. So I think that Drunken Piata is some really insightful analysis. But I'd like to just read a blurb out of that Andrew McCarthy's, if I could. It just is, if I can get it back up here. It is just amazing what's been taking place here in our Congress. And so Andrew McCarthy, this was written 2 days ago, and basically it's Mueller's letter to Barr, a neat trick by the Washington Post before hearings begin. And that's what we need to understand too, is they basically put him over a barrel because the press, Washington Post got this letter and then funneled information more than likely to some certain people on the Hill asking questions. And so basically, I'll just do a couple blurbs. And this is Andrew McCarthy writing in the National Review. Mueller complained to Barr about memo on key findings. That's the banner headline at the top of the Washington Post website Wednesday. But when you click your way to the actual story, it turns out the headline is not true. Special Counsel Mueller's complaint, which targeted Attorney General Barr's March 24th letter explaining the report, is not about key findings. It's about the narrative. Mueller's complaint is that Barr, quote, did not fully capture the context, end of quote, of Mueller's, I love this, magnus opus, the nature and substance of the report. The complaint was set forth in Mueller's own letter dated March 27th. The letter is a microcosm of Mueller's collusion probe. And check this out. Sound, quote, sound and fury, signifying nothing, an investigative process predicated on no criminal conduct, which generated crimes rather than solving one. Parse carefully what you have to do with the special counsel's work. Mueller is precisely not saying that Barr misrepresented his key findings. He is saying that he and the Clinton/Obama minions he recruited to staff the case wrote the report with a certain mood music in mind. To their chagrin, Barr gave us just no crime bottom line. Mueller would have preferred for us all to feel the ooze of the unpresidential escapades he couldn't indict, but wouldn't, from the lofty perch. So, this was a private letter, and that shouldn't remain, that should be brought out again. This is a private letter, interdepartmental, and Mueller reports essentially to Attorney General Barr. This is just unbelievable. And then they, of course...
Who leaked that anyway?
Leaked this letter to the Washington Post, and then they couldn't wait to transmit it over to Congress. And then they put our Attorney General Barr over a barrel. This is unbelievable. And you know what? I just want to remind myself and others out there that there is a operation going on here, military op, and we can find solace in the fact that if you look at aerials over Gitmo, Camp X-Ray, there's been a lot of add-ons to Camp X-Ray, and there are many, many sealed indictments. And this bullshit's got to stop, and it is going to stop. And we are the news now.
Yeah, I think the month total was over 6,000 for the last month of new, fresh sealed indictments. So
is that an acceleration? I thought it was going down.
No, I don't know. We're still going up. We're still in 90,000 some odd sealed indictments.
Has it come out on who leaked that letter, Clarion?
No, but it will. And there's going to be parallel investigations that are going on. It's going to make people's heads spin. And I just, our dear president, it is unbelievable what he's dealing. Unbelievable with the magnitude of what this man is dealing with and his team. And so we'll continue to hold him up in prayer. But all of this will eventually come out. And of course, they're going to declass the 302s, the FISA applications, among other things.
Do you think that all the investigations that are going to go down are already started? I kind of lean towards they're already started.
Yeah. I am fairly confident they are. It's been out in the public domain if you do watch Fox, and it's been stated on a few shows that Mr. Comey would need perhaps five attorneys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of moving parts, but it's just, it's very frustrating to, of course, see all of this hijinks going on. But, rest assured, there is a plan. It's moving forward, and this thing is going to just basically roll over these guys. And, go back to earlier Q post. They will not be able to walk the streets. Okay, there will not be a Democratic Party, right?
Can you drop a copy of that letter, Clay?
I don't have it. He sent it to you. Or Clarion, do you have the link to that the letter, Mueller's letter, that we could put out there to live chat?
You know what? My apologies. I did not send that over, but you could probably just find that online.
Yeah.
Well,
Can you imagine, though, like you mentioned, Clarion, the pressure that he's under, and that's just at the national level. And when you include everything internationally, what's going on, my God, he's getting hit on all sides. And anyway, after the Mueller report come out, it's like a breath of fresh air. He could actually breathe a little bit, right?
Yeah, and you could see that, that he was relieved, relieved that the process was over. He knew what was going to be the outcome of it. But, we run the risk of getting a copyright strike if we pull down the Mueller letter, because maybe the Washington Post is claiming copyright over it since they got it.
No doubt.
Just to add one more thing to your point, Clarion, is that I think I mentioned this the other day on probably both shows. This isn't about, being on the Republican side or being on, what we call the right side or the left side. It's not about a party. We always have to be vigilant. We have different opinions on how things, they should be appropriated in terms of financial budgeting and things like that, or social beliefs and things like that. But when it comes down to it, the way that both parties have kind of co-opted that duality and that kind of into a binary situation where everything has to be one thing or the other, or you're my enemy. And we always have to keep that in mind moving forward, that we are using this Republican Party as a vehicle in the U.S. right now, but as we know, there has been opposition or enemy, so to speak, in both parties as we go. So it's you can't say that, okay, we're and I say that too, like when you have arguments or conversations with other people on the opposite side, that we take that into consideration, that we don't necessarily use that language of right and left, Republican, Democrat, because in reality, we're talking about fundamental rights and wrongs.
I think that's very well said. I would agree with that exactly, because if you look at all of the congressmen and women and senators that resigned, I think the lion's share of them, we talked about this maybe a month or so back on air, that the lion's share of them are Republicans. And so I think that there's going to be a very, very changed complexion of the Republican Party as well. And people that are going to be that are awoken, and that will be waking up, are going to realize that we need to be steadfast around the Constitution. And we're going to see a changing dynamic in our political system, and hopefully the Republican Party, if it still remains to be called the Republican Party, it's going to shift over and be known as the Constitutional Party, because we're in a fight for our very republic and the rule of law.
Well, the Convention of States, right? That might come about quite quickly, from what I understand, once that shift begins that you're mentioning. Because if this does not happen and people are not fighting for America, you're going to lose America. I mean, that's why we're all here, is to save America from what? We know what we're fighting against. Totalitarian Silicon Valley, the communists, and a host of other things. I mean, when we were offline, we were talking about Mexico, and that's a terrorist state bordering the entire of America. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, we look no further than Q Post. And one of the earlier Q posts is that we are privy to the most intel that has ever been divulged in the history of our country, and perhaps the history of the world. And I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to exaggerate at all.
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah. And so they had a 16-year plan. And there was a mass extinction event or casualty event that they were planning on with HRC in. So we are in the fights for not only our republic, but collectively for freedom and liberty around the world. And that's why it's so encouraging and exciting to have our Canadian brothers and sisters on the soapbox to the extent that they are, and all across the world. And of course, we have Daddy Dragon in the UK. We have Australians and Kiwis from New Zealand, all over the world. And what Pam and Radix have put together here is phenomenal. And I believe we will continue to be blessed on this channel, and because we're basically giving thanks to the Almighty God. I mean, our forefathers did. In every Continental Congress, they prayed. And a lot of them, one could argue, we say were deists, but nevertheless, they prayed to Almighty God, Father God, and certainly George Washington did as well. And we are not perfect. We have a lot of imperfections in our history, but this is the only nation that ever, through its founding documents, is organized around the clear expression that our rights do not come from a sovereign king or queen or prince or the state itself. It comes from the Almighty, and they are inalienable. They cannot be divorced from mankind.
Well said. Very well said.
Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Way to crystallize the thoughts there.
Yeah. I know we're supposed to be tempered with things and not let emotion, but you know what? There is there is a place for emotion too, for motivation. But we need to be very, very sober-minded about all this, and how we react to it. What we, as Q has intoned us many, many times, and I think that perhaps one of the greatest exemplifications of that is how Attorney General Barr conducted himself on Capitol Hill. Can you imagine being under scrutiny, just walking in and having all of those knuckleheads? I shouldn't call them knuckleheads, but all of the camera
They are knuckleheads.
Yeah, all of the camera people, cameramen and women, and shooting. I mean, it's ridiculous. But at any rate, and then to be, grilled for, I don't know how many hours you guys is he up there?
5.5, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
My favorite part was when almost all the feeds had the same shot of just him, and maybe they had an inset of what the questioner or what was going on. And I think there was a time there was a bunch of people moving in the background, and Barr, his head was cocked to the side. He was completely still, and it was just blinking. I'm like, that is, if someone didn't cut that out for a perfect GIF, that would have been awesome for a meme.
Yeah. So it just goes to speak to his temperament, his intelligence, his acumen, and also I would say that it also speaks to, we have it all. He's privy. He knows what's going down. He knows what's already concurrent investigations that are happening. And oh boy, Won't that be nice when that is revealed? But I think that helped kind of like perhaps keep him energized and just hold his ground with all of this. It's beyond nonsense. It's unethical. It's criminal, and it's treasonous what these congressmen and women are doing, and the salacious language that they use, and that whole stunt with that. What was that? That congressman from Tennessee. Did you guys see that?
The letter is being dropped in live chat right now. Scroll up if you just missed it.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
What guy was that, or woman was that, Clarion?
Well, there was TN Homestead was explaining to me yesterday, but apparently there was a congressman from Tennessee that had, basically mocking the whole thing with Attorney General Barr deciding rightfully not to show up. And then he was eating chicken, and then he had like this porcelain chicken, but TN Homestead, Cohen, and TN Homesteader pointed out that it wasn't a chicken, it was a rooster. I mean, so these guys are failing at their own mockery, aren't they? Isn't that something?
I think in one respect that all the people that POTUS has brought around him closer to be part of the plan, including Barr, has been for a strategic reason. I think he was picked or not picked, but he himself, I think, would have not wanted to be an AG in some boring situation. If this is making sense to you guys, I mean, he's stepping into a situation here. He's stepping into the hot water when he knew he was going to be the AG. So I think he's just doing a great job, and I think he will do a great job based on his demeanor and the fact that he's been around the block for so long that he knows exactly what's going on and what needs to go on.
I think you're right about that. I think they briefed him as much as they could when they wanted to nominate him, and I think they kind of greased his wheels enough to, or at least just he got his mind working, and probably thought back to his time during that time, and maybe he thought of some questionable times or questionable things that happened in the department during his tenure previously, and he just, I'm assuming he didn't want that to be his legacy, and stepped up to the plate.
Right.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, he is stepping into the breach. We are in a lawless, a period of lawlessness right now at the highest levels of government. Think about this. You had Andrew McCabe asserting that it was obstruction of justice for POTUS to fire the FBI director. That's completely, there's no question about that. That's completely within the purview of the President of the United States. Completely. And so it is just so patently apparent of the treason and the treasonous actions. And so I believe Attorney General Barr was pointed out, and there was a recent Q post as well where he couldn't believe when they actually kind of gave him full throttle of what was going on behind the scenes.
If you want to really know what's happening, Clarion, most of the time is if you watch a press conference, like right after the Barr hearing, they reveal it themselves. Like Ted Liu gets up there on the microphone, and I just sent it to Coach Clay, a little clip there with Ted Liu, and he's saying, we're going to get him. And he's saying it's not about what we're up here for. It's about Obamacare. And he says it right in his press conference, right? So they actually tell you what they're actually trying to do, these crazy commies, right?
Exactly. And then the press basically runs with it. So basically it's signaling, and the press runs with it. These people are really evil, and they are not about the rule of law, and they will run over anyone and anyone. Okay. And what they do is they already have an end position, and then they reverse engineer everything into that, no matter if they have to lie, cheat, steal, whatever they believe they need to do. It's a philosophical approach of a utilitarian where the ends justify the means. And you go and you talk about Obamacare. You had a congresswoman New York named Louis Slaughter, who basically said, "Hey, Nancy, they're very good, close. Hey, let's just deem Obama, deem it passed, where we don't even have to have a floor vote." I mean, it is unbelievable what these people have gotten away with. There was no transparency to Obamacare and that whole legislation. Okay, there was no discussion about it. They had one ostensible, discussion about it at Blair House, and it was a joke. And and then they had, how many pages was Obamacare? And they just basically pump it out at literally 11 p.m. at night, and then they're supposed to vote on it within the next 24 hours. Unbelievable.
And going back to Ted Lieu there, so that wasn't in Texas. Remember in the previous hearing, Barr's previous hearing, and that was brought up in questioning about a judge's ruling in December regarding Obamacare, and he ruled it unconstitutional. And Barr suggested that, well, let's wait and see how this plays out. Well, it played out, and he ruled it unconstitutional. So when Ted Lieu came out of the latest Barr hearing, that's the first thing he attacked on. We're going to shut him down. I mean, I just sent you the clip, by the way. So yeah, it's not about Barr. I mean, yeah, it's about Barr, but it's not about POTUS anymore, which is a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll steamroll over whoever they want. And it is absolutely, it should be so disconcerting. That's not even the right word. Shocking and alarming, because no one is safe with what Mr. Mueller has gotten away with over the years, what his whole cadre of Weissman et al. Have gotten away with. They need to be held accountable, and they will be held accountable.
Sedition, right? And I mean, Mueller goes back to 9/11, doesn't he?
Oh,
Yep.
And me too.
Maybe they have. What do you guys think about this? Maybe they have hopes, and by they I mean the deep state characters. That it's only how many times in the past in history has it happened that people have been charged with those types of crimes. Maybe they're thinking that it's just such a hard thing to actually prove that they're going to be able to get away with this. Maybe that's what they're thinking, and that's why they continue on with some of their behaviors.
I don't have a link for this, but Hannah Martin in live chat says plane down 737 BNO News verified account 10 seconds ago. Large plane down in the St. Johns River in Jacksonville, Florida.
Jeez.
Just FYI. Somebody can verify that.
Max, I thought they grounded those.
Yeah, I thought they did too.
What size was it again?
737 said.
Out there, live chat, Q Lives Matter, where we go, when we go all. It disappeared for me. Where'd it go? Oh, they retracted it. Just as I was about to give them a shout out. Well, this channel means a lot to us as well there, Patriots. So.
Yeah. Well, these players, the deep state players, believe, and it is true, that the media will continue to support them. And there's been some wobbliness on lately, slightly, but that's what they have, and that is huge. And that's what we go back, where we go, when we go wall. That has been Q's basically. The thrust of this movement is that we have more than we know. We know. They've been giving us all of this intel, but we have more than we know, because together we are strong. And that has been essentially Q's battle cry, right? And his common refrain. And so that's why it's so important. That's why I got on here tonight is that we are the fourth estate. We are the news now, and we have a duty and an obligation. And we all take it very seriously, but we need to be putting the pedal to the metal, because it's about controlling the narrative. And I don't mean narrative in our case in the pejorative sense. We have the truth. That's our narrative. They have lies. That's their narrative. But we need to just continue to put the pedal to the metal on proclaiming the truth. And that's what the Daily Caller is named after. They used to have in the town center, in the town square, a caller that would call out the news. That's where the Daily Caller came about, the name that Tucker Carlson and Neil Patel chose for that. And you look at the genesis of that, that was basically, I think it was about 10 or so years ago, maybe about that, give or take, from obscurity into basically one of the most read, and it's become a powerhouse news foundation. So I have, great aspirations, and I know that this Patriot Soapbox, when we link up the online, Soapbox Online with written content, it's going to become even a bigger powerhouse, and it will eventually emerge into a bona fide news source, writing news, objective news, and then also opinion. In my
opinion,
I mentioned to Pam that we should perhaps be, how do you say it, rebroadcasting, restreaming PSB, of course. And I haven't heard back from him. Coach Clay, any word on that? I mean, we should be doing this via Periscope, BitChute, any way we can to obviously draw in as much people as possible.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. Definitely. I think that Pam is in the workings of getting a second stream going on. So there's two streams at the same time. And then I do know that there is our one Patriot there who is running the Patriot Soapbox Archive channel as well, which basically has all the shows in 2-hour segments. So at any point, if you miss any action from the prior day or an interview from the weekend or something like that you weren't around for, you can definitely go and find that stuff. But we definitely need to continue to find find ways to spread the word here and the message about the Patriot Soapbox, because it's like I said the other night on the show there. This Patriot Soapbox is like the central hub of many different other channels and many other different Patriots. We've got thousands of Patriots that are watching the channel right now who all potentially have their own channels and are doing their own research and or speaking their own words out there, right? So, but this is one of the only places 24/7 that that people, the Patriots, can come and use as a central hub to speak their mind and have free speech. So that's what I think is one of the most amazing things about it.
Yeah, it's definitely unique.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this. Well said, Coach Clay. I was thinking about this earlier today. It truly is a community of friends. I mean, the friendships that are made, and it is so powerful, and it's such a it really is. I don't know what the right word. It's a beautiful, really truly is a beautiful thing to be able to pray with our Patriot brothers and sisters, and also basically share ideas and have a place where we can go to discuss things, because I tell you, it can be very, very frustrating, basically during the day, not having people to talk to that are like-minded, that know what's going on.
Kind of like when I came on with that tweet from Magic Pie, I was like, okay, what does this mean, man?
Yeah.
I don't know. Were you here then, Clarion? I can't recall.
I don't know if I was. I don't know.
He was referencing oh my God, Istanbul. Anyway, the old word.
Constantinople.
Oh, I was drunk piano that was here. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, Clay, can we change the screen? Because I think, we don't need to look at this guy.
I was trying to tell I70 that, and he wasn't seeing my message to them there. He had the share screen up.
Sorry, he stole it back. Hey, I was looking for something else on my phone. It looks like a plane carrying more than 140 people has gone off the runway at the Naval Air Station in Jacksonville, Florida. Skidded into the St. Johns River, local officials say. Only a few details were immediately available. The incident happened late on Friday night when the craft went into the river. So,
Yeah. It's probably just an aborted takeoff.
yeah, not
It's
as
not
bad
tweet-
as
not
as
not
bad as a
trending.
gyro reset at 14,000 feet.
So, is a commercial airliner?
I don't know. Is that the Naval Air Station?
Well, where's McDill located?
It says a commercial plane. Yep.
Okay.
Well, let's hope that
There's
everyone.
no injuries.
Yeah, there's no injuries and everyone's safe.
Thank God.
Oh, there it is. I just typed in number Jacksonville. Breaking 737 jet plane skids off runway Jacksonville. This is from Steve. But oh no, there it is. News4jacks.com.
You mean it wasn't just posted by Steve?
Yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know.
130 or so on board, looks like.
Yeah.
All right. Good news is nobody's hurt.
No,
got
News4Jacks is a real company. It's not a fake company.
Yes, we got about 8 minutes left in the show. It flew past again.
I better go. Thanks, Clay and Clarion and Coach Clay and Drunk Pinata for having me aboard. We'll talk to you folks again. And everybody in YouTube, thanks for watching. Remember to hit that share and that like button, okay? You guys and girls all have a good night. Thanks and good night.
All right, thank you. And live chat.
Come back anytime.
That was WLCTV.ca. Great to have him on the show there tonight. Any final words for yourself there, Drunken Pinata?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we covered a lot. Have a good weekend, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see you all next week.
Hey, we got 7 minutes. You want to pull up that last Q post?
Yeah, which one? The
very last one we got.
Sure.
Please.
Yep, no problem. 1 sec.
Hang around for 5 more minutes, Clarion and
Yep.
Drunken Pinata, if you can.
Okay, I'm there. I70.
Yeah, I just figured when did this come out? Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah, we hadn't gone over this. I figured we'd just check it out.
Yeah, for sure. So that was the last Q post. In case anyone just jumped in the channel there and hadn't been brought up to date, is Q post 3,331 that came in at 12:41 a.m. Eastern Time, May 2nd. And it says, "You are witnessing the systematic destruction of the old guard. May 2019 kickoff start offense. Enjoy the show, Q." And I think when he says old guard, I do think that he also is meaning the mainstream media.
I would roger that big time.
Yeah. There's so many good voices within this movement, and more that are coming in all the time. I think. For example, a guy like Patrick Howley has just been, knocking it off this world here recently, and to be part of this platform as well now. And I'm just so excited to have more and more, real journalism going on. It's great.
Yeah, I spent probably 45 minutes to an hour reading Patrick Howley's, and I would highly recommend. It is a lengthy read, but it goes through from soup to nuts, and it is very exceptionally well written and laid out about all of the hijinks that's gone on throughout this whole Russian dossier and all of the plants that they put in and the Russian lady attorney, and on and on and on and on. But it is a fascinating read and very informative read, and hat tip, and thumbs up to Patrick Howley, and I concur. It's great to see him on Sundays. But I would also say that we do have real journalists here as well, and they're kind of in the wings. But once we get the online platform launch, you'll see just how awesome they are, in their writing chops.
Hey, Clay, do you see how that post was dropped at 10:41?
Yes.
Go to post 10:41, please.
Okay. Sure. Just share the screen here. Go to post 10:41. All right.
Sometimes I do this for fun.
Here's post 10:41. And it talks about military aircraft crashes. Called White House for comment. Would you believe they called the White House for comment prior to publishing Q? And this is a link to a Fox News article. Disturbing string of aircraft crashes in 2018 continued daily trend for U.S. military. Wow.
I just thought that was weird because we just had a crash.
Yeah, very interesting. That was from the 10:41.
Right, that's where I got that. Yeah,
on the latest Q post. Very interesting.
It's weird how this stuff kind of ties back in. It ties back in so many ways you don't know which way it is.
Yeah,
actually.
Exactly.
Did I find it or is it nothing? Oh, but man, that was a quick 2 hours.
Yeah, we're real quick. A couple minutes left here, so I guess we should probably say our goodbyes then at this point.
Yeah, we should to our callers. Thanks, Clarion and Drunken Pinata.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all that you do, truly. And I just want to say, for those listening in the Beltway, thank you, POTUS. Thank you, Alliance. Thank you, White Hats, for all that you do. We love you. God bless you. I declare and decree Psalm 91 over you. Pam and Radix, thank you so much for the stepping up and out and putting this together. Thank you.
All righty. Come back anytime, buddy.
Very well said, Clarion. It's always great to have you on the show. And we still got... Yep.
Well, along your the same vein there, I70, the actual difference between the Q-Post and POTUS exchange that I referenced earlier was 12 minutes and 1 second. You got to post 12:01. That is, the trump card is yet to be played. So we got some fun stuff ahead, regardless if that's what they meant or not.
If we're right or not.
Yeah. Everyone have a good weekend. Be safe, and we'll see you soon.
Yep. Keep in touch.
Yeah, it's always good to have you on the show here, Drunken Pinata. Your insights are always very much appreciated from myself, that's for sure.
All right. On that note, I would like to thank Sosha 321 in pre-screening for helping out. That's awesome. She's always there.
Thank you very much, Sosha, for all your volunteering that you do. Make sure live chat, definitely give a shout out there to Sosha. She does do volunteering for not just our show, but many of the shows out here on the Patriot Soapbox. So that's definitely a thankless job out there. So thank you very much, Sosha. And the Blue Wrench is out there as well. Roxy and Anna Rogers and USMC Mom and Bullin' On and Vigilance was out there as well, I think. Thank you very much for all the volunteering you do. And
Susie Odom
as well, yep. And thank you to all the Patriots out there in live chat tonight that contributed to our show tonight, and with your conversation and your insights and your news out there, and all your questions as well. It's always an honor for myself to be here on the Patriot Soapbox with you guys, and it's like having 2 hours of chit-chatting with some of my closest friends.
I agree. And on that note, we're going to hand you guys into the mighty capable hands of Chris.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Great for a Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday, guys. Do you have any big plans for the weekend?
Stay dry.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of the weather is unsettled yet, so I'm not too sure what I'm going to do.
Oh, no. It's sunny here. I mowed some lawn today. I got 3 acres I have to mow, so I'm going to be busy this weekend.
That's for sure. Well,
we
hey,
finally got some sun, though.
We'll bow out of here and let you get to it.
Oh, thank you, gentlemen. Great show as always. It was great talking to you, even though it's just for a little bit. You have a great weekend. I'll see you guys Monday, if not sooner.
Okay, Chris, you have a great show.
Thank you. You too. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, live chat.
Hey, y'all out there. Hey, I see all kinds of people I recognize. Oh, my goodness. What kind of week did you guys have? You have a good week? I hope so. And yes, Sosa's great. Sosa 321. She's been in the green room for me several times, and nobody showed up. I was stood up. Nobody wanted to talk on air. Yeah, you got a bunch of bashful people out there, I guess. So let's see who we got out there. Light World, get some cow, huh? Arc One, Coach Clay's out there still with his ranch. Thank and Sosa, Reagan's Runners, Board Troll, Virgil, Lindblade, hello. Barrett Campbell Murphy, Warren Franklin, Tim Wagar, Remote Viewer, Cajun LeBlanc, Crowntree, Duppy, Susie Odom, yay. Yankee Witchburner, yeah, you guys, big thumbs up for the guys. They always knocked out of the ballpark. I love their show. DJ, hello. Ernie Goby, Lonely Q Drops, yeah, Teresa B, hello. Diana Meyer, hi there, how are you? BJ, Eli, Lori Ball, Brett Campbell Murphy again, and Reagan's Runners again, Greenus McDragon, Ricky Roush, Nancy L, Christian Crusader, Best Naughty Ever, Anna, Remote Viewer again, Michael F, KB, Warren Franklin, Ann Gardner, Joseph Donahue, KC, Mary Beth, Blondie, Freedom Lover, Arlene, Light World, again, McBurger, what's going on? Well, I'm here hanging out with my favorite people. Kimber, Carl, cheers. Sonora, Kaylee, BSFR, Namis, I miss somebody, Dave, Drummer Dave, Jack Kennedy, Miss Miami, Humi, Joan Lever, Angela Stinchcomb, Cosa Nostra, JR, hello, Danny Williams, Ali Smith, Rottweiler, Calico, how you doing, Calico? Linda Q. Largo, hello. Metafaith, Rico Richanon, Kevin, Don S., Roxy, Colorado. Howdy. Let's see, Stock Jockey. I have to call out your name, Stock Jockey. Stock Jockey. 3 times for you. Jerry Sparks, hello. Renee E. Oh, I do until the auction. They're going to auction it off. Waffle Lady, Waffles, I missed you the other night. Everybody's out wondering where you went. I said, where's Waffles? BK Masterson, wishful thinking with a big smile. Dinsdale Piranha, howdy from Texas. Pullbot, hello. Yankee Witchburner again. Bashful, yeah, you're bashful, huh? Yamabudo. Yay for Yama. Dina Fur. There's no vowels in there. I can't say it. 1954 Gibson Les Paul. Boomy says hello and hugs from SoCal. Well, hello and hugs from Wah. N-E-Wah. Royal Red, hello. You're welcome, Stock Jockey. Kathy Baki, hello. Visiting family in beautiful Helena this weekend. Ruby Slippa in Idaho. How you doing? Bama Bruce, Robert Tyndall. Hi, Mark S. from Toronto. Laura Thomas, Route 3, Box 6, Texas. Ellie, how are you? Marge, Q Lives Matter. Judy, hi, Judy, how are you doing tonight? Feeling good, I hope. Let's see who else we got. A USMC mom with the Great Blue Wrenches. Judy Morris is of Great Blue Wrench, too. And Anna Rogers, how you doing, Anna? I didn't know you were cousins with Cappy. I had no idea. I saw somebody say that the other day. I was like, really? I should have figured it out, but... Sheepdog Patriot, Counting Coup. Supposedly the plane was going to Guantanamo. Don't know. Hi, Eric Murphy. Says, good evening, Patriots. Little T, Big T, Little T. How you doing? St. Louis Blues are losing. Bummer. American Sister. How are you? Isn't that the name of a TV show about, what's her name? I can't think of it. No, Kyle Richards. American Sister or American Family. I don't know. Something like that. DJ, grabbing coffee. Kaylee Farmanon, how are you? Pumpkin, I haven't seen you for a while. Stoli, how are you? Tetsuyama from Thailand. 10:05 a.m. Saturday. It's tomorrow there, guys. Isn't that amazing? People are here from Tomorrowland. Dramatic, great to see you. Lazy Bee from LaGrange, Texas. Howdy, howdy, Light World. And Cats. Hi, and Cats. Michael F. says, we need someone to peek in on the plane fags on the chance to see what they got. That'd be interesting to see what they're thinking. I just heard about this just now. Roddy, Conscious Abe, first photos.